Hey guys, what's up? It's Inevitable from Modification Nation, and today I'll be showing you how to fix your Xbox 360 that has the red ring of death with an Aoyue 968 professional reflow station. Okay, so what I have set up here is I have my Xbox, which I have taken apart. I've taken the heatsink off of, and I have put it back in its cage and put a screw, or two screws right there, screw right there, a screw right there, and a screw right here. Okay. So, I have strapped it to its cage so that the motherboard doesn't flex when I apply heat to it. So first what I want to do is I want to warm up the general area of the motherboard all around it. So I'm going to use a not so good heat gun that I bought at Ace for like $12. It has a low setting with a low airflow and at 750 degrees Celsius. The air doesn't actually come out that hot, but the heating, that's how hot the heating element gets. I then have high speed, high airflow, and 1000 degrees Celsius, and you can see it's orange in there, so it's pretty hot. So I'm going to go to my low airflow setting, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to go around for about a minute or so. And this just warms up the general board. It's so it doesn't, you don't shock the board with too much temperature at one time, because that can cause the moving of parts around, and it will not only not help your Xbox, but it can permanently break your Xbox. Or no, break is permanent, but very hard to fix. You can always reball it, but that's very expensive and very hard to do. Okay, after I've been doing this for about 30 seconds, I'm going to kick it up to high. I'm going to move a little bit farther away. Keep going around. Okay, now that's done. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to pick up my Aoyue, which I have no tip on currently, and it's at 213. That's what I was just warming it up at. I'm going to kick it up to 226. That's just a certain heat temperature I like to use. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and sit it just on the GPU, just like quarter of an inch away, and just go around in circles. Later, I've actually already recorded it. It's going to be a video on how to unban your Falcon when you have freeboot 0.32. Actually, that's not possible. It's how to unban or how to downgrade to freeboot 0.30 if you have 0.32, because if you have a non-Xenon motherboard, you cannot unban if you have freeboot 0.32. This will be how to downgrade your freeboot version and then how to unban it with a new key vault from there. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but if you can, please excuse the background noise. My sister and brother have friends over, and I think they're having a bit of fun with it. Okay, so I've been going over here. I have my airflow on setting about 3.5. You can't see that, can you? No. Okay, and I'm going to keep going around here like this. The reason that my memory chips are gray is because I put thermal compound on them, just because I put a little bit too much on my GPU one time. I didn't want to put it on my shirt, so I just put it on them. You don't need to do that. Actually, I don't recommend it because it can do nothing really to help. Okay, so now I'm going to kick this up to 275 degrees. Actually, it's 276. And I'm going to go around for another minute or so. You want to make sure you don't hit the chip right now, because actually all the little solder balls underneath the chip are currently actually in almost a liquid state. And if I actually hit the chip right now, it will slide, bridge hundreds of solder points under there, completely screwed up. Also, if you just touch it a tiny bit, those resistors on top of the board, which I'm sure you can see are on top of the chip, those will be knocked off their points. And those are tiny, tiny solder points, which I guarantee you cannot solder back on without a lot of trouble or a mechanic or a robotic soldering tool. Also, you can buy nozzles for this that are specifically made for the GPU and CPU. One's a 49 by 49 millimeter, and the other one's a 51 by 51 millimeter. And those go in here, and you rest them about 1 or 2 millimeters off of the chip, and you build your own stand for it, which you can build with just general tools from Lowe's or whatever. It's not hard. But I don't have one because I don't have any wood right now. Also, you can do this with a griddle, having a griddle under it for an air bath underneath it, To do that, to keep it so that it keeps the Xbox motherboard off of the actual griddle, you stick screws up in the shape of the screw holes that hold the heat sinks on, those four right there, and you do it over under there as well. You put bolts on the screws that you stick up through the bottom, about a half or 3/4 of an inch off of there. You put it on top. You lay the Xbox on top of those screws, and then you turn the Xbox, or you put more bolts on top of the Xbox so it locks it. Now I'm at 312. This is going to be my highest heat setting. If I keep it at this for too long, or if I go any higher than this, it could actually do harm to my Xbox, because it is a very hot. Yeah, 312 degrees Celsius is quite a high temperature. Okay, I'm only going to do this one for about 30 seconds. Okay, now I'm going to take it back down to 276. You don't actually have to use these temperatures, it's just ones that I find pretty good to use. And I'm going to kick my airflow up to 4 1/4. I'm going to do this for about another 30 seconds. We're now on the cooldown. During the cooldown, I use slightly higher airflow and slightly lower airflow, or not airflow, air temperature. Right now, I'm going to go back down the same temperatures I went back up at, but I'm going to stay at the same temperatures for a little less time. So now I've been at 256 for about 30 seconds. I'm going to go back down to 225. Make sure you're always going circles. You don't want to keep it on one spot too long, or the solder balls under that specific spot of the GPU will become too liquidy, and the other ones will become not liquidy enough, and you will get not only an ineffective fix that doesn't last very long, but also a possibility of harming your chip. Also, this is probably the most permanent fix you can do for the GPU, in a coordination with the XLamp mod. Doing both. After this, the XLamp mod actually isn't necessary, but it does still help. It's probably the longest lasting fix you can do without actually getting a reball station, which are several $1,000s, but they really do the job. Okay, so now I'm going back down to 90 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to kick my airflow up to 5 1/2, and I'm going to keep it a little farther off. This is just to cool it down, really, but I'm keeping it farther off because at this state, at this time, the solder balls are liquid, and the airflow is too high. I actually can blow the chip off of the solder balls, even with this low airflow rating. Okay, so as you can see, this isn't very hot. I'm blowing it on myself right now. I'm actually blowing it at the camera. It's not very hot, but it's just to cool it down a little bit. Also later, after I post my video on how to downgrade the freeboot version on JTags, I will be showing, taking a video, hopefully tomorrow, on how to JTag an Xbox 360, because I'm getting 2 more exploitable Xboxes I'm doing tomorrow. One for a backup for mine, just in case it ever red rings, and I've already promised a lobby, and one I'm doing for a friend. Okay, so now that that we've done that for about another minute, I'm going to shut off my SMD rework. It's going to kick it up to full airflow just for a second till it cools itself back down. I'm going to put it in my little holder here, and you can feel heat radiating off of the GPU. It's quite hot right now. And don't shake the cage, you will screw it up. Okay, so there you go. After you do this, as you can see, I took my thermal paste off. It also looks like a mirror. Look at that. Look how shiny that is. You'll take off your thermal paste before you do this. Also, after you do this, you're going to want to put thermal paste on it, and just a tad bit, just almost a see-through layer. You don't want too much. Absolutely not an entire tube. Some guy brought a computer into where I work with an entire tube of thermal compound on one chip. And so you'll just apply the XLamp mod, and this is a very, very effective fix, and I hope it works for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and I'll see y'all later. If it works.